Red Bull sells over 9.8 billion cans every single year. That's more than a million cans every hour. But behind that iconic blue and silver design, there's something way more interesting than just an energy boost. Ever wondered what actually goes into a Red Bull? What's inside that slim little can that's supposed to give you wings? Most people glance at the label, see words like taurine and glucuronolactone, and have absolutely no idea what those are or where they come from. It might as well be wizard juice. But today we're pulling back the curtain. We're going behind the scenes, inside Red Bull's highly protected production facilities, to expose what's really happening when each one of those cans is created. From futuristic mixing tanks that look like something out of a sci-fi lab to precision machines that seal cans tighter than a submarine hatch, what you're about to witness isn't just beverage production. It's industrial wizardry on a global scale. Let's begin where every Red Bull is born, in a place that's less Willy Wonka and more NASA, the raw ingredient storage facility. This is where it all begins. Picture giant stainless steel tanks lined up like metallic soldiers. Every single one is packed with key components of the formula, and they're all kept in highly controlled environments. Temperature, humidity, airflow, everything's regulated to the decimal. These ingredients don't just sit in some dusty warehouse. They're kept as if they were rare elements, because in the world of energy drinks, they are. Now, one of the most talked about ingredients in Red Bull is taurine. It's sparked rumors for decades. There's even that old internet legend claiming it comes from, bull testicles. But here's the actual truth. Taurine does get its name from the Latin word taurus because it was originally discovered in ox bile. Sounds gross, but hold the gag reflex. Red Bull doesn't go anywhere near animals for this stuff. The taurine inside every can is 100% synthetic. It's created in pharmaceutical-grade labs under sterile, strictly controlled conditions. Zoom in under a microscope, and taurine actually looks beautiful. Tiny crystal formations that resemble snowflakes. And here's the twist, taurine isn't even a stimulant. It doesn't hype you up like caffeine does. In fact, it calms the brain. It reduces the excitement of certain neurons, creating a kind of balanced focus. So that jittery, ready to sprint up a wall feeling, that's not the taurine, it's something else. Which brings us to the caffeine vault. Unlike your morning coffee, where caffeine is extracted from roasted beans, the caffeine in Red Bull doesn't come from plants, it's synthesized. Pure, white, powdery caffeine, think baking soda, but way more potent, arrives at the factory in sealed containers. And this isn't just dumped in by the scoop. Doses are calculated to the milligram. Even the slightest deviation could make one can feel like rocket fuel and another like flat soda. So, ultra-sensitive instruments and digital systems monitor every gram that enters the mix. And caffeine's not the only one under heavy watch. There's an entire section devoted to B vitamins: niacin, B3, pantothenic acid, B5, B6, B12, each delivered in concentrated form. These are the unsung heroes of the energy world. Not flashy, but absolutely essential. They help the body produce energy from food, keep the nervous system functioning, and boost metabolism. And because Red Bull is sold across over 171 countries, the exact vitamin levels vary slightly depending on local regulations. That means the Red Bull in New York might be just a little bit different than the one in Tokyo or Berlin. Now, beyond the lab-made ingredients, there's one component that's incredibly basic, and yet it's arguably the most important: water. But not just any water. Red Bull sources its water from the Swiss and Austrian Alps, tapping into some of the cleanest natural basins on the planet. And this isn't just filled up from a tap and tossed into a tank. Oh no. The water undergoes a purification process that could make a spa jealous. There are multiple filtration stages, UV light treatment, mineral balancing, everything done with military-grade precision. It's purified, tested, purified again, and only then is it approved to move forward. Then comes the sweet stuff. Red Bull doesn't use just one kind of sweetener. There are different formulas for the original and the sugar-free versions. Each type of sweetener goes through spectroscopic analysis, a test that uses light to analyze the chemical structure, and only the ones with exact density and purity make it to the mixing tanks. For the classic Red Bull, sugar crystals are measured for how fast they dissolve and how they affect the mouthfeel. Yes, mouthfeel is an actual scientific metric here. Now there's one more name on the ingredient list that sounds like it came straight out of a science fiction novel: glucuronolactone. It sounds complicated, but it's actually a natural compound found in the body, specifically in connective tissues. Red Bull uses a lab-made version, again not from animals, and while it's less famous than caffeine or taurine, it plays a big role in how the body processes waste and toxins, kind of like a backstage cleanup crew for your metabolism. And here's where the real magic happens: the mixing chamber. This is Red Bull's industrial heart, a sprawling, interconnected network of tanks and pipes that looks like the engine room of a spaceship. Here, industrial pumps and sensors choreograph a perfectly timed ballet of ingredients. Every pipe, every valve, every click is monitored and controlled by centralized computers. The first thing that happens? Water and sugar are blended in large mixing tanks to form the base. Engineers monitor everything. temperature, sugar concentration, density, using real-time data on massive digital displays. If even one variable is off, the system halts. Only when the mix is perfect do the active ingredients like taurine, caffeine, and vitamins get introduced. It's all done in phases, under carefully timed conditions. Temperature matters a lot. There are cooling jackets surrounding the tanks, basically high-tech wraps filled with glycol solution that can shift the temperature by fractions of a degree instantly. Because here's the deal. If the liquid gets too hot or too cold, certain ingredients could break down or change form. That could mean weird flavors, reduced shelf life, or even reduced effectiveness. So yeah, those tanks are babysat harder than royal infants. Once everything is combined, it's time for carbonation. This is when the drink gets its signature fizz. Pressurized tanks inject carbon dioxide gas into the mix, and this process is no joke. Pressure, temperature, and contact time have to be perfectly balanced. Too little CO2 and it tastes flat. Too much and the cans could literally explode during packaging. So yes, engineers have to walk a tightrope here. As the liquid finishes mixing and fizzing, it passes through a flash pasteurization system. One of those behind-the-scenes safety steps that most people never even think about. Then, the lid is added and sealed using a process called double seaming. 2 layers are rolled and compressed together to create an airtight, pressurized seal. It's so exact that the measurements are taken in thousandths of an inch. One bad seal and the carbonation's gone. Or worse, the can might leak or burst. Now you'd think the journey ends there, but nope, every single sealed can goes through a gauntlet of inspections. There are weight checks that can detect if a can is even 0.5 grams off. There are pressure tests, visual inspections, laser scanners, all to make sure nothing is wrong with the seal, the fill level, or the appearance. If something's off, it's kicked off the line and flagged for investigation. Then comes the laser code. That little batch number and expiration date printed on the bottom or side of the can. It might look unimportant, but it's absolutely critical. It creates complete traceability. If something ever went wrong, that tiny code can help track down exactly when and where the can was filled, down to the hour. It's like a tiny passport stamp for every can. After all that, the cans are boxed up, palletized, and sent into temperature-controlled storage. From there, Red Bull's global logistics network takes over. This system is a beast, full of refrigerated trucks, specialized containers, and real-time tracking. Everything is timed to perfection so that cans arrive fresh, fizzy, and ready to go on shelves around the world. And that's the full journey. From purified alpine water and pharmaceutical-grade taurine to the iconic aluminum can that zips through a conveyor belt cleaner than most surgeries, the production of Red Bull is a carefully orchestrated industrial masterpiece. Every single can represents over 30 production steps, hundreds of digital sensors, and a level of quality control that borders on obsessive. Behind that slim, shiny can is a cocktail of science, engineering, logistics, and design. It's not just an energy drink, it's the result of decades of innovation. So next time someone casually pops open a Red Bull, just know what they're holding is the end product of a manufacturing marvel that runs 24/7 across continents at mind-bending speeds and with almost zero margin for error. And yes, every one of those 9.8 billion cans started the exact same way. If this blew your mind just a little, hit that like button and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes looks at the world's most fascinating products. Drop a comment below if there's a brand or process you want to see next. And until then, stay energized.